This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's Worst 250 so you don't have to.
My name is Abigail Ward.
And I'm Michelle St. Clair.
And I'm Gaden Sousa.
And tonight we're still fucking watching The Room.
I'm still in the little space.
You're still in the Iron Maiden.
We're still here. We're trapped forever!
Happy 2024, listeners.
Wow.
We're still stuck back here in 2023, to be honest. So
We have no idea what it's like on the other side.
yeah, what's it like out there? How does it feel?
I'm here from 2024, and I'm here to say, wow, it is not going good. The
Oh
year
my
was not
God.
off to a good start.
What are you speaking through?
Well, I'm speaking through... Oh, sorry.
I can take my helmet off. Of course. That makes much more sense. Wow, so you guys still have the good air.
Yeah, we do.
Interesting,
We do.
Interesting.
So we
Why
needed
do you
this
have
episode to
three
be
arms?
shorter, and now we're doing this. This is great. This is really a really good place to start.
Why do you have an arm growing out of your back?
That's
And why is
crazy.
your hair bright green?
And your butt's just like
Popping.
really big. Yeah,
It looks really good. Is
It
all
does
I'm
look
saying.
really
that
good.
happened in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
That just happened in the remaining time of 2023.
Yeah, no, solid.
The rest of it, let me tell you, it is going crazy out there. I'm glad to be back, to relive these last few weeks. You know?
Yeah. Fuck, man.
Yeah. It is not going good.
Wait, seeing as this is your New Year's episode, what was everyone's favorite film from 2023?
Aww. Such a Gaden
What's
move.
a movie you liked?
Such a little
you guys
piss
watched a
baby
lot of
Gaden move.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, thank you. I know myself.
What was my favorite movie on the list this year?
No. We know what it was. It was Cat in the Hat. We don't need to relitigate that.
Do you mean like what film? Like a film that came out in
A film that
2023?
came out in 2023 that you saw, that you really enjoyed.
Oh my God. What did I go to the movies to go see? I know what movie came out. Was that this year or was that last year? It was this year. I know what movie came out in 2023 that was my favorite. It was called Blueback.
Yeah.
A wonderful little movie about one hell of a fish.
Yeah.
I really liked Blackberry, the film by Matt Johnson. I really, really, really liked it.
Yeah.
I would say that was a highlight. I really liked Napoleon as well. That's almost an unpopular opinion.
Slay.
What about you, Gaden?
I really love Blackberry as well. I think Blackberry, Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Oh, Barbie.
I think
was-
Oppenheimer was fucking... Barbie was great. Barbie was great. I don't care what we said last episode. I liked Barbie.
Barbie's great.
I forgot Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was
Oppenheimer's really
fucking good, man.
And I've seen The Boy and the Heron twice in the last week.
Ooh.
And, it's very special.
Big recommend.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I definitely don't think it's for everyone. It's a pretty esoteric, surreal, strange movie, even as far as Studio Ghibli movies go. But and the first time I watched it, I wasn't as into it. It's a beautiful burp, Abby.
Thank you.
Thank you for gracing me with that.
Well, thank you for acknowledging it.
No, it's
I just feel
okay.
like Michelle doesn't give a shit.
No, I know.
anymore.
And every time I'm listening and she doesn't give you the attention it deserves,
I know.
it makes me
It's
upset.
clearly a cry for
Yeah.
attention, and I don't get rewarded for
No,
it.
you
Get
don't.
so much attention.
I want more.
All I do is text you and you never text me back.
Heal my inner child.
Oh, okay. Well, if I'll give you as much attention as you want, as long as you call me pretty whenever I ask for it. And then we'll heal each other's inner child.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Burp, please. Burp, please. Wow, what a burp.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Pretty.
thank you. That did make me feel great.
Anyway, The Boy and the Heron is a really beautiful film.
Oh, sorry, you're still here?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt that moment.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, it's all right. Across the Spider-Verse was also pretty good.
Oh, of course, Across the Spider-Verse came out. I mean, this is why I hate when it's like, what was your favorite thing of this? And I'm like, I've forgotten
Yeah, I
everything.
fully forgot about Barbie.
You gotta get on Letterboxd, team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I would still have to go to my letterbox to look at it and remember it.
But in logging it, you remember them better. That's why I remember those films.
Sure. Okay.
It's like the practice of like journaling every day. You
Yeah,
remember
okay.
moments from your life better,
I'll
even
do
though
it.
you're not
Well, yeah,
reading
you
your
could
journal all the time.
in the new journal that you have.
It's such a beautiful journal that Abby bought Michelle.
Yeah, Abby got me a wonderful, beautiful little journal, and it's a thick boy, a nice
It's
thick.
a big boy.
I love a good chunky journal.
You got to fill up those pages.
Yeah, it means I can. There's no resource scarcity. There's no economy of anything. I can just like blitz through it.
And here's something about the diary as well that I'm trying to teach myself, because I also want to journal more this year.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't have to be pretty or perfect.
Yeah.
And you can miss a bunch of days, and you don't have to feel like you have to give up because you didn't do it for the last week. Like, it's just something you come back to that's allowed to be as ugly and chaotic as you want. Because I'm always like, my journal has to be perfect. It doesn't.
I think as well, like as someone who's journaled more this year than they have in previous years, all of that plus also acknowledging like that it can just be dot points.
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't
yeah.
have to be a detailed,
Well expressed.
beautiful, well expressed,
Exactly.
beautifully written.
Because it feels like a chore if it does. Whereas
Yeah.
if it's dot points, it's just like,
This
I
happened.
did this today.
Yeah.
This made me feel a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This made me feel good. I
Fully.
like this bit.
Or
I
even
didn't
like
this bit.
sketching something, being like trying to remember something that it looked like. Simone, lovely friend of the podcast, Simone, kept the most beautiful diaries. And I feel like that almost fucked me up because when I
does.
saw her journal, I was like, wow, it was beautiful sketches, really well composed, really nicely written. I was like, I'll never compare. Anyway, guys, we have to get into it because
we'll
we've got
roll
a lot
into
to
it.
do.
Yeah.
We've talked about some good movies. Let's talk about a bad movie.
Let's go. Yeah,
Let's
exactly
do it.
right.
Let's get fucking into it.
Yeah. Wait, look, last week we started off talking about The Room, and we only had enough time to cover what happened in The Room, but we really need to focus in today on why The Room came to exist and some of the trivia around The Room, and of course the reviews as well. But what do you guys know vaguely about the production of The Room? I think, Michelle, you know a lot.
I
But
do.
what
I
about
do know a
you,
lot. I've
Gaden?
also forgotten a lot though, because you know I haven't hyper fixated on The Room in the last couple of years. You know, the pandemic really changes a lot of priorities, and a lot of Room trivia had to make way for unyielding grief.
like
you know?
COVID stats and
Yeah, exactly. So you know, I'm excited to relearn things that I once knew.
I also knew a bit, and like obviously I've watched the Disaster Artist, but I haven't seen that for a while. I mean, like I know, as you said in the last week, $6 million apparently. I know that it was kind of shot by people who knew how to make movies.
Like a crew.
Yeah, like an actual crew.
Yeah.
And I know that it was like this passion project.
yeah.
And there's lots of weird stories and lots of weird things. But not like anything super specific.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'm delighted. I'm ready to be.
I mean, there's a lot of
go to
information.
class.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information. There was a whole book about it. But let's just, return to the fundamentals. The Room, released in 2003, starring Greg Sestero, Juliet Daniel, etc., etc. Greg Sestero was there from the very beginning. He was Tommy Wiseau's housemate. They met at an acting class, and they had lived together since 1998. I'm pretty sure they'd known each other quite a while. And then Tommy came to him being like, I want to make this film, after he was inspired by The Talented Mr. Ripley. By the way, I think I read that Greg Sestero took Tommy to see The Talented Mr. Ripley
So it's his fault.
because he wanted Tommy to learn a lesson on roommate etiquette that he thought was in the film. So clearly Tommy wasn't the best roommate. It might have been the obsessive bird toy collecting. Who knows?
There's no way that Tommy Wiseau is nice to live with. There's no
No.
chance.
No,
Not
definitely
at all. Not at all. Too erratic, too messy, I would say.
On his own planet.
Fully. But they lived together, and then eventually Greg Sestero moved out because he got a girlfriend, and Tommy didn't take it very well.
Yeah.
At all. He wanted him around forever.
That is not surprising.
No, because you can imagine like Greg Sestero would be a great friend to have. He's like handsome and cool, and then
He
you've got
seems like
Tommy.
a charming, chill dude, and Tommy is a ghoul.
He's the all-American friend.
Yeah,
To
he's
continue
the
my
all-American
thesis.
Yes.
And so
They catch with.
he and Greg,
And go for a run.
Go for some in the runs and work out.
the runs. How many footballs do you reckon they passed?
There,
I mean, one.
I remember.
They juggled them.
What?
I
No,
remember.
I'm just joking.
The,
I mean, I meant how many times do you think they passed a football?
I remember, and I don't like to invoke this, but CinemaSins, they did a video on the room where they counted how many times. So you can
Oh,
watch that
wow.
video.
Oh, really?
It's a lot. I think it's like over 100.
Oh my god.
It's like a ridiculous amount. like football movies don't have that many passing of a football. In
Yeah,
it, you
sure.
know?
Well, as far as I understand, in football, you don't pass the ball that much. You don't just constantly chuck it back and forth.
No.
In the way that you do when you play catch.
You're meant to run with
Grab
it,
it
right?
and you run. Yeah.
It's primarily about holding rather than passing.
I'm trying to think of gridiron in particular. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
I
American.
like
American
all of us,
football.
the least sporty people I know, trying
know.
to figure out, wait, how does football work?
They run with
A
it,
sport
right?
that we don't really play in this country.
No, that's also true.
My dad's really into gridiron. So he watched
Really?
a lot of it. No, yeah, I had no
really
idea. And my
surprising.
brother got into it as well. So
Really?
he and my dad really bonded over it. They'd
Wow.
like get up early to watch the gridiron.
That's really it's
Wow.
quite
no,
sweet.
but I hate the look of gridiron. It looks really. It reminds me of NRL in Australia,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you just tackle people and then
brutal.
it,
I mean,
it's
the
not for
level
me.
of concussions. Anyway,
Greg Sestero,
King.
after the room hit cult success and became quite notable and well loved in a sense, he decided to come out with a book about his experiences working on the room with Tommy Wiseau called The Disaster Artist, which was later turned into a film.
Was he still friends with Tommy at that time?
They are still friends today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't they make a movie later called Friends or something?
Something like that.
Or Best Friends?
You're right.
Yeah, they
you're right.
speak every day. They've never really had a proper falling out.
Wow.
Although at one point Greg Sestero did want to quit the room because it was so difficult working with him.
Yeah.
But it didn't fracture their friendship. They stayed friends.
I imagine they had to have had some kind of conversation
Yeah.
after he wrote the book.
Yeah, surely.
You know, of like, hey, man,
Yeah.
what do you think of me? Or maybe he's like, I can't read.
The Disaster Artist claimed that they still speak every single day.
Yeah.
And that was in 2017.
And I
so
believe it. I
Yeah.
desperately wonder what that conversation was like.
Greg comes to Australia every year.
does he?
He
What?
comes and does a screening of The Room at Cinema Nova.
Oh.
I think I've seen him do it at least 3 or 4 times. I haven't seen it, but I've seen the advertising for it 3 or 4 times. We should go ask him.
We should go.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Should have gotten him on this podcast,
Oh
not
my
me.
god.
Oh my
Can you
God, yeah.
imagine?
If we could have
I
gotten
would
Greg
faint.
Sestero.
I would faint.
That would be fucking crazy.
Yeah, honestly.
Tweet at him. Exit him.
Yeah, I'll zeet him.
Zeet him. Zeet him.
So basically the production of The Room is well known, notorious, explored in the film. There's a lot of things that we've already seen. It starts off the actual production, again, he's sinking his money into it. They're usually filming in a parking lot, which is where they do the green screening for the roof scenes. And then also the set of The Room as well,
It's
which
also
is
in the
just
parking
an
lot.
indoors set, which is next to the car park. Tommy Wiseau, infamously as well, this is what happened right at the beginning. Most of the time when you're shooting something, you decide whether or not you're going to do it digitally or in film. And Tommy didn't want to decide, so he decided to do both.
I forgot about that. I fucking forgot that.
Okay, that makes sense because there are shots where I would look at it and be like, why does that look like shit?
Yeah.
Oh, so some of it was shot on digital.
Well, here's the
early
thing.
digital.
Yeah, 2003 digital.
HD. And here's the
Early.
thing as well. Usually people rent equipment.
Yeah.
Tommy didn't want to rent. He wanted to buy, which meant that he instantly sunk possibly $1 million of the budget into equipment alone.
Yeah.
And everyone around him was like, Tommy, are you sure? Like you're not really meant to buy any of this because what will you use it for after the shoot? And he's like, I don't need to rent. I'm going to keep this forever. We'll keep making films. He buys the equipment for a 35 millimeter camera setup and then also for a digital HD setup. And
my
he
God.
shoots them next to each other
Oh
the
my
entire
God.
course of the film, which means that both sets of equipment need 2 different operators. Someone operating the 35 millimeter, someone operating the HD digital.
But
and
the
two
framing.
and the framing.
This explains the framing.
This explains it. That's why it's so
Because the 2
compromised.
cameras are right next to each other getting moved at the same time.
Oh my god.
And here's the kicker. None of the digital HD stuff ever got used in the film, just the 35 millimeter, because it was unnecessary. Because Tommy soon realized, he was like, oh, they don't look the same. And everyone was like, yeah. It doesn't
because
look
they're
the same.
different.
Yeah.
In 2003, digital doesn't look anything like 35 millimeter film. You put a 35 mil film camera, not even 16. Jesus.
35 mil.
That would have been
The
expensive.
room was shot on 35 millimeter.
Jesus.
So you could do a 4K master of this.
You could.
Fucking hell.
It's craziness.
It's like an Arri now costs like $80,000.
Yeah.
You know, like a top of the line digital camera.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Or more than that, probably.
And so also during this filming, Tommy Wiseau was infamous for firing a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He had cast like 3 different leases by the time he got up to Juliette Danielle.
Yeah.
Don't know what she did to impress him, but she beat out a lot of other women that were quite like, there were a lot of women that went up for the role because it was a funded film. Even though it's Tommy Wiseau, everyone was like, it's a proper project.
Everyone's getting
in LA.
paid,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
that's-
6 million is
huge
indie,
thing.
but that's a real movie.
Yeah, and even like his cinematographer and his script supervisor went on to say that they were shocked when their checks wouldn't bounce when they'd cash them. They were like, wait, he actually has money? Like they were all like kind of shocked that he wasn't fucking them around, that they did actually get paid.
Well, because it's like, see, it feels like the shadiest thing ever,
Fully.
right?
Yeah.
Like this strange Eastern European guy who.
Well,
looks
he's
like
from
a
New
creature of the
Orleans.
night. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
he's from New
This
Orleans,
strange
man, and
New
he's
Orleans man who
25.
looks like a creature from the night. Who's 25 years old. It is telling you about this movie he's gonna make. Doesn't know the difference between digital and physical film, but has apparently $6 million to throw out. That would be so confusing.
Yeah.
You would really just be like, I guess we'll just keep going because we're getting paid.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it.
Yeah, 100%.
I've worked on things that are not quite this chaotic, but you have the same sense of like, man, I'm getting paid. I know this is bad shit. I know this is wild, but sure. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I really wanted to focus on the fact that Tommy Wiseau as well, just talking about the script. He wrote the script over a couple of weeks, and the first person he showed it to was Greg Sestero. Greg Sestero was a baby, and he thought it was fine. He thought some of the elements were like, he didn't necessarily identify it was badly written, but he could tell that some of the bits didn't make sense. And then Tommy, for a while, started going off the rails with ideas. Because initially the script was just the room as we know it, which is, man has a partner, the partner cheats on him, yada yada. However, as shooting began, Tommy was like spitballing new ideas for the script that no one wanted to get on board, and I just need you to listen to this.
Okay. Please.
So there was a particular edit of the script,
Yeah.
and this is the ideas from that edit.
Okay.
Denny was originally named Billy, and Billy was Lisa's gay 18-year-old brother who is attracted to Johnny. In the scene where he is rescued from Chris R., who in this draft is a pimp named Jimmy, he admits to being a male prostitute. Claudette refers to Billy as my son the homo. And makes several homophobic remarks throughout the script.
I'm sure that would have been handled with nuance and grace.
Now, this is something I need to set up because it will seem strange. I mean, it is strange. Many times throughout the shooting, Tommy kept having this idea that he kept wanting to go back to, and people would wrangle him away from it again and again. And the recurring idea that he loved was the idea that Johnny was secretly a vampire.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck
And that at
outta
the end
here.
of the film, he drives off in a flying BMW over the San Francisco skyline, and that's the end.
Oh my god. That is incredible. The fact that we've been referring to him as a ghoul and a vampire and a
He
creature of
knows.
the night.
He knows. Well, apparently Tommy Wiseau loved cultivating the idea that he was a vampire.
Holy
he was
God,
obsessed with
shit.
it. He loved birds and vampires
And America.
and America. Birds, vampires, and America, the holy trinity for Tommy Wiseau. And so in this script,
Fuck me.
Jimmy, the male prostitute, is later killed off screen with the implication that Johnny, who reveals himself to be a vampire with superpowers when rescuing Billy from Jimmy, drained his blood while he was in police custody. Johnny, Mark, Billy, and Peter attend his funeral, which is why they are wearing tuxedos in the clean-shaven scene.
Right.
The tuxedos was a vague idea about a character we never meet in the film, and the pimp that tried to kill him, his funeral. It's bizarre. It's crazy.
Whoa.
It's crazy. It is. This is what they were dealing with on set.
That is insane.
The script supervisor, who was played by Seth Rogen in the film,
that guy.
is losing his mind because
He's
also
kind of the hero of that movie.
well, Tommy Wiseau, after he also wrote the script and finalized the script and obviously tried to alter it many times, really was hesitant about giving anyone the script. And the script supervisor was like, I need the script, man. I need the script to
my
work with
job,
this and
yeah.
to know where we're up to. And Tommy never wanted to relinquish it to him. I think he had to fight for it.
yeah.
So it led to a lot of confusion because people would come up to the script supervisor and be like, so wait, where are we at in the script? And he'd be like, I have no idea. I have no idea what scene we're shooting.
Wish I could tell you.
At one point, because of the issues with his crew members, he cycled through 400 crew members throughout
Oh
the
my
shoot.
god.
That's like a full production
Yeah, full
worth
production.
of people.
Yeah.
And it's because he fired so many people. He went through 3 cinematographers. I think he ended with a 4th one, so he had 4 in total, and he discarded 3. Oh my god! And then because when he would lose the cinematographers, they would take a lot of their staff with them.
Yeah, they take their
They would
best
walk
boys
out.
and their gaffers.
Yeah, so then you'd get a whole new crew in again and again and again that were less competent as it went on
Of
because he was
course.
downgrading every single time.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the cinematographers had a real issue with the way that Tommy would speak to Juliet Daniel on set.
That doesn't surprise me at
And
all.
yeah, here's
Oh, he
where
was
we get to
good
the,
at directing women? That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, here's where we get to the sad thing in that, like,
Oh.
I feel like the uncomfortable part of the film are, of course, the sex scenes. And Juliet Daniel reportedly during the premiere was devastated because she didn't realize that the sex scenes would be so long. She thought they would be a few seconds at best. And when it was like this 3-minute long agonizing sex scene and then another one a few minutes later, she apparently in the premiere was like so heartbroken and uncomfortable and felt really disgusted by the way that he had done it.
Oh, it feels so exploitative.
Yeah. And also during the sex scene, all of the people on the crew were like shouldn't this be a closed set because we've got a woman naked, you're naked, Tommy? And he was like, no, it has to be open. He was like sex is emotional, emotion should be open set. And Tommy was also adamant about being completely naked. And he said that, let me find it for you actually, because it's so funny.
So yeah, no modesty piece or something like that. Because
No
usually when there's
modesty.
sets like that, it's
Dick
like
out.
yeah, you wear a
Dick
little
fully
modesty
out,
piece,
which is
little
horrible because
skin.
he's right in front of her.
Looks
There's
like
just
skin. It's fine.
Yeah.
there was just a sheet separating them, which is awful to
That
think
is
of.
awful.
That is
Yeah.
gross.
Because those pieces are both to protect like visually, but also because it kind of pads everything down, like in Barbie and Ken style, so that the rubbing is very non-sexual.
Yeah,
you know?
so that it's all a dance.
Yeah.
That's why we have intimacy coordinators now. It's like it's
Intimacy
really
coordinators are so important. It keeps
important.
both actors feeling safe and it means it's completely choreographed. Whereas this seems like it was Tommy naked with a sheet protecting him from her wrestling in bed with her.
Yeah.
Awful.
And intimacy coordinators, though, I'm old school, all right? I like spontaneity. I don't know how to act.
Also, apparently Greg Sestero hated watching the way it was done as well. He
Yeah,
felt really
of course.
uncomfortable about it. And as a stand, he refuses to watch the sex scenes in the film because he just feels like they're not fully,
Yeah.
they weren't done
Yeah.
in a
Right.
correct way. And he knows that they upset Juliet, so he doesn't watch them. Tommy Wiseau was adamant about the shot of him getting out of bed, where you see his ass, walking naked to the bathroom. He said, I have to show my ass or this movie won't sell.
His doughy little ass.
doughy
It's all.
Well, he
Yeah,
did-
you gotta
waiting
be
on
kneading
that.
bread with that
Yeah,
thing.
He
is
did
kneading bread.
numerous
He is bread with
takes.
that thing.
He did numerous takes of the scene and he refused to move on until the crew demanded him to do so. The editor, Eric Chase, later tried to convince Wiseau to cut the shot, claiming that the sight of it scared his wife.
She was terrified. It's just bone chilling looking at that ass.
We were talking about Tommy Wiseau's strange, doughy body, and again, don't like to body shame,
Not
but in
body
this
shaming.
case it's warranted because
Yes.
he body shamed Juliet Daniel nonstop. But about the most unexpected thing, he saw acne on her back and was like, ew, gross. And he got people to cover it up and he kept making humiliating comments about the acne on her back. And he was also meticulous about getting the makeup department to cover every single mole or freckle on a person because he didn't think it was attractive.
See, this is why I'm always
It's
okay with
bizarre.
making fun of him,
Yeah.
despite all the things we've said, is because he's awful.
He's horrible.
Awful.
Yeah.
He's absolutely horrible.
He's a $6 million. He's a millionaire who clearly made his money from the mafia.
Yeah.
And being a bad person.
Korean jackets and
Korean
jeans.
jackets and jeans.
Everything about his strange way of speaking and walking and his odd visage, if he was nice, would be endearing. They
Yeah.
come off as ghoulish because he is a ghoul in his personality.
Another notable thing about the shooting of this film is that there was no sufficient air conditioning on set. And they went through a
right,
Californian heat wave.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
a really bad heat wave.
They're
To
shooting
the point
in a
where,
car park.
they were shooting in a car park in a big old factory. And the factory was worse when you've got the lights on, you're not getting any
Yeah.
airflow in. And apparently
Old school lights too.
Yeah.
Those are so hot.
Yeah. Proper bulbs and yeah.
Yeah, well, the woman who plays Claudette, her name is Carolyn Minot, she apparently she collapsed from heat stroke. She was hospitalized, and then right after she got admitted from the hospital, she went back and they did another take and she nailed it. So she was a real professional, but this was her first real role. She'd always wanted to be an actress and she'd never done it before.
Okay, I feel bad for saying that she was Melly's favorite actor.
Yeah, wow.
I know.
Wow. How could you?
I am the monster.
How could you? You just don't like older women.
Well, yeah, the room revealed to me that I am the ghoul I made along the way.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was waking up at 5 a.m. every day to leave
my
her
God.
grandkids and her husband, and she would drive into the set. She was really passionate about it because she was like, this is my break. The poor lady. She's still alive, by the way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I thought she definitely had breast cancer.
Well, the results came back. Also, here's another thing about her, actually. This is something I love. Tommy Wiseau has revealed he has made it canon that Lisa's mother, Claudette, makes a full recovery from her breast cancer.
Oh, thank God.
So she was fine.
Hallelujah.
I know.
She was fine. She was just being dramatic.
Yeah, fully dramatic.
Really dramatic.
And also, what I love is that Tommy Wiseau seemed to hold grudges against cast members. He and Greg, obviously, they were friends, but they had a bit of a tumultuous relationship on set because things weren't going to plan. But he really really resented the guy that played Peter.
Oh.
And it's because the guy that played Peter, he came into the set and he said, guys, I'd love to be in the film. I need you to know I have a hard out. Like, I need to be done with my scenes by this date. And it was very reasonable, like in a month's time, you know?
This happens all the time.
Fully. He's like, my scheduling doesn't like works up until here and then I'm gone. They didn't adhere to that. They were running late. And so because of that, all of a sudden they needed Peter, but they didn't have the actor anymore. The actor had to go. And Tommy kept trying to bargain with him, being like, why do you need to go? Why can't you extend? We really need you in this shot. And he kept being like, I told you I've got a hard out because I've got another gig and I can't stay. And Tommy resented him. And there was a scene where apparently the actor that played Peter hit his head on a piece of the set and it gave him a concussion.
Oh my God.
And Tommy made him work through it anyway
Oh my
in a
God.
scene. And there's a bit where you can see Peter's talking to Tommy on the roof and he looks strange, like he's touching stuff around him because the actor had a concussion and was too dizzy to stand, but Tommy
my
made him do
God.
it anyway.
Jeez.
Oh my
Because Tommy
God.
fucking hated that he was leaving.
Oh my God.
And look,
that's
I've
crazy.
had a concussion. That's why I'm evil now. You know,
Fully. You get it.
working would be hard. Thinking
Yeah.
is difficult. That's
Yeah.
the whole shtick of a concussion.
just
Brain's
love that
been
he's-
rattled.
He's so petty. Like
Yeah.
he's a spiteful child.
Spiteful 25-year-old.
Yeah, obviously.
From New
Obviously.
Orleans.
From New Orleans. From New Orleans. That famous New Orleans accent. Sorry, can I hear that one more time, Michelle?
Hello from New Orleans.
Wow.
Orleans.
Oh, the sounds of the South.
Oh,
the South,
hi,
right?
yeah, it's Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah. Sounds of the South.
Hi, I'm from Louisiana, New Orleans. Oh, hi, Mark. Would you like some Mardi Gras beads? Boy, it's a sweltering one.
Oh boy. And also, so the guy that plays Chris R, the drug dealer.
Yes, Chris R.
The guy's name was Dan Janjigian or Janjigian.
Okay.
Dan Janjigian. How would you pronounce this? Jan, so Jan, Jigian. Jigian?
Gigian.
Jigian.
Gigian. It sounds...
Janjigian.
Especially, I mean, it might be Armenian.
Janjigian. Dan Janjigian plays...
Sorry, I'm just
drug
laughing at
dealer.
Michelle going, well, it's probably Armenian.
Because California has a lot of Armenians.
Oh, cool. I did not know
True.
that.
I mean, the Kardashians are Armenians.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
And they're breeding like dogs.
Dogs.
So Dan Janjigian
Yeah.
plays the drug dealer Chris R. Also, I love his name Chris R. It's in the
Chris
script.
R.
It's not even like Chris and then R is the initial of his surname. It's Chris dash R.
No, it
Wait,
isn't.
what?
Yeah,
Wait, what? That's
fully. It's not
hilarious.
Chris
R
dash
dot?
R. No.
It's not like Chris space
Chris
capital R.
dash capital R. What the fuck?
There's
Dash
not even
capital
another
R.
Chris.
Well, it's dash capital R, but it's like there's no space.
Wow. It's like my cousin's name is Sarah J.
But there's a space.
It's a dash, but it's Jay.
Oh, okay, so it's still a name.
It's still a name.
So it could be like Chris-Are. Chris R.
I guess I would be
What
more
is
okay with
Chris
that.
R?
What is Chris R?
Or Homer J.
What
Well,
is
that's his
Chris
middle
R?
name. That's
Homer
different.
So apparently he was, as we said, he was probably the standout, right? In terms
Yeah.
of performance.
Oh, yeah, he's actually doing something.
He's doing something.
Yeah.
And
It's
apparently
still very like actor showreel, but I'm like, you could hire him.
yeah,
It does
it's-
feel like I'm watching an actor's show reel.
Every scene is an actor
Every
showreel.
scene is an actor's show reel. I was thinking that last
and again,
night.
that is the good end of the spectrum that we're
Yeah.
working with.
Yeah.
In this. So he was a highlight for Tommy. Tommy was really impressed by his work ethic, and he really took the role seriously. This is a very brief role, and apparently he stayed in character the whole time, so he was incredibly aggressive.
Tommy
on set.
would love that.
Yeah.
Tommy would absolutely love that.
Kicking walls and punching walls and kicking shit over, and Tommy was like, "This is amazing.
This is what real acting is. Do you think the guy who played Chris R would get along with Jared Leto?
Oh,
They would like send
probably.
rats to their
Probably.
co-workers together
Probably,
because
yeah.
they're method acting.
Yeah,
and they're so
fully.
important.
Well, maybe
So
Chris R
important.
has his own cult. You know? Again, he has a sex cult.
Yeah,
and we don't talk about
I'm,
it.
I'm very
Sousa,
aware.
stop denying
I'm
it.
very
Jared Leto.
I know you're a big Leto head.
God,
Big J guy.
he's a weird guy.
Jared-
He's a weird.
Fucking weird
Yeah.
guy. Although 30 Seconds to Mars did slap back in the day. From yesterday.
You know what? He's really good in Panic Room. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah, he's just David Fincher is channeling his clear "I am an asshole" vibe
Yeah.
perfectly.
We gave him an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club, and I'm still mad about
yeah,
it.
that's fair.
He was in How to Make an American Quilt in the 90s, and as a tiny bit part, it was like one of his first roles. He was actually very good in it. He was a bit of a standout,
When he's
unfortunately.
when he's used well. well.
Yeah.
It can be good.
But apparently Tommy Wiseau really annoyed Dan Jajiglian between takes.
Yeah.
No, Dan Jajigian.
Jan Gigi.
Do you want to take that from the start?
Dan Jajigian.
Yeah. Do you want to take the whole
Yes.
sentence from the start?
Apparently Tommy Wiseau actually really annoyed Dan Jajigian between takes. And his his on-screen anger is genuine because Tommy was pissing him
Oh
off.
my god, that is hilarious.
Apparently he channeled how annoyed he was by Tommy and just was like using it in the
Maybe
scene.
it's a
Let
real
it
director
loose.
technique, you know?
Also, this isn't included here, but that's also something Greg Sestero did, in that Greg was getting really fed up with the scene, our favorite line, "You can keep your stupid comments in your pocket."
Yes.
An incredible line.
That is apparently Juliette Daniels' favorite line in the whole film, but it probably cemented with her. She remembers it well because she was present in the scene when Greg Sestero had to say it, and apparently he kept saying it and delivering it, but everyone was like, "Oh, you're not really getting it right. Like, you don't seem angry. Like, he wasn't a very good actor, you know."
No,
and
he
they were
wasn't.
like,
No,
"Just try and get more
clearly.
force behind it." And Tommy kept saying provocative things to him that was pissing him off, and he had to do like 20 takes. And finally, he was like, he tried to use the anger towards Tommy in that scene where he was just like, "Keep your stupid comments in your pocket." And when he walked off screen after that, the one that they used, he was like, "That's it. I'm not fucking saying it anymore, Tommy." So he was like at his wit's end.
This is what I find fascinating about Tommy Wiseau, in the same way that I find fascinating about Ed Wood, is that you're not seeing someone make slop, or they've done a bad job and then the studio has tried to fix it and made it even worse, whatever.
Yeah.
You're seeing someone who has seen movies and kind of gets it and knows those techniques. There's like secret juice spread throughout.
Secret juice.
He's got the juice. Like in a moment like that, I'm like, that's not awful direction
Yeah.
technique. It's not.
Well, he didn't
always
do it
ethical.
on purpose, though. That's the problem.
That's what's nuts about it.
I know. He just happened to be there and he was pissing him off. Like, he's not being like, harness your energy and your anger. He's just being like, "Can I tell you it again?" And Greg Sestero is about to lose it. It's Greg Sestero being smart.
It's like you can believe that he maybe did it on purpose that time
Yeah.
and never again.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's
I don't think
what's-
I'd ever believe he did it on purpose. I don't think Tommy's thinking about that.
But I believe anything because I believe he would have like heard it somewhere and he's trying to recreate it and accidentally did it correctly. That's what I mean.
I mean, you're constantly, like Ed Wood, you're watching someone hit the ceiling of what they can make.
That's-
Immediately.
That's exactly it.
Like he can't make something better than that. You know, any piece of art is made out of somebody's taste, and like his taste is this. You
Yeah.
know, the ceiling is this. So I guess in a way he could be using that technique as the top of the ceiling of what he could possibly do.
Yeah.
I mentioned this beforehand. There's the scene where Mark walks in, they're all wearing tuxedos, and he's had his face shaved.
Yeah.
And it's a big moment. The camera, tracks in on him,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "Whoa, you look great." And I think Johnny says, "Oh, baby face." Does he say baby face?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think he's like, "Oh, baby face." Tommy really wanted to do that scene in particular, because he liked calling Greg Sestero in real life babyface and wanted an excuse to do it in the film.
Of course.
So he asked Greg to shave
shave.
his beard so they could write in the scene. And everyone was like, "You're creating continuity issues. Like, now we can't shoot scenes where he had a beard, would have to get a fake beard. There's no need to do it." And he was like, "I really wanted to. I really want to say babyface." So he makes Greg Sestero shave off his beard, and Greg Sestero is like forced to do it right before the scene. He's like kind of shocked by this choice. And he said that for him was like the lowest point in shooting it, because it was when he realized just how strange and deranged Tommy was and how bad the film was going to be.
Yeah.
And now we also get the extra context of knowing that in the scene where they were wearing tuxedos, they were meant to be going to the funeral of the dead pimp
Jimmy
of
the
Billy
pimp.
the male's prostitute, because Johnny's a vampire.
My son, the homo.
The homo. My son, the homo. And so he was probably just like, "This is fucked. This is getting out of hand."
In that scene, I noticed, like, while they're all going cheap, he starts looking at the crew right before it cuts. And it's like, it smacks of someone who's so self-conscious about what he's doing in that scene. And
Greg
that
Sestero
context,
does?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That context unlocked something for me. I'm like, that's why that scene is like that.
That poor guy, man. That
Yeah.
poor fucking guy.
Do you know how many days they shot for, Abby?
I actually couldn't find. Let me just see if I could find it, because it never actually mentioned how long the shoot was. Hang on.
If you say, I know it has to be based on like the way it's described makes it sound like an odyssey, which makes me go like, surely it must be like 45 or something. If you say anything over 20 though, I'm still going to be surprised, even though I just said that.
Over 20
days.
It lasted 4 months.
Yeah. It was a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
like
you know why?
420
months.
days.
You know why it went on for that long?
Oh,
It was because obviously Tommy didn't understand how to make things
It's like 120
economic in
days.
terms of time. But what he would do is that he would make everyone come to set at 8 a.m. and then he demanded they were there early to get everything set up. And he himself would always arrive around noon. And so he would make them wait for 4 hours.
That's insane.
He would be late. He would be tardy. He did it from day one. He was 4 hours late on day one.
that's crazy.
And by the way, Greg Sestero was there to pick him up at 7 a.m. And then he had to wait around hours to get him to come into the set. So he would make everyone wait. And then when he would get there, he would try and claim that everyone was really slow and unprofessional after they'd been waiting 4 hours for him to come onto set.
That's
Then on top of it,
Yeah.
so they're only utilizing half of the days that they could have been. And then on top of it, he tore down the roof set in the car park 3 times, and then they had to rebuild it 3 times
Oh my
because
God.
they didn't get the right amount of shots or had to do reshoots. There was one
my
particular scene
God.
that they had done in an alleyway. It was the drug deal scene.
Right.
They'd done it in the alleyway, and then they were like, that wasn't right, let's reshoot on the roof. And they did that after everything had wrapped. They rebuilt the roof again, and it cost them $80,000 and took 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
So just he had no sense of time and efficiency.
Jesus.
No.
So yeah, 4 months.
4 months.
4 months
4 months is crazy.
fully.
Star Wars shoots that long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Four
Yeah.
months, it's like, let's say 4 weeks in a month. So that's what, 24 weeks?
Yeah.
Did I do that math right? No, 4 by 4 is 16. 16 weeks.
Yeah.
16 times 5 is whatever it is. 50 plus 20, 70, like 80 days. So it's
Yeah.
like 80 days.
Big.
Jesus.
It's a long shoot.
Jesus.
Get Out was shot in like 26 days, I think.
Fuck.
Legit.
That's what I said. 45 is like an outside
Yeah.
like guy. They said it's like an odyssey.
No.
80 is crazy.
I'm like 90% sure Whiplash was shot in like 21 days or something.
yeah, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like 20 is a doable thing for an indie
for an indie
thing.
feature with less than $10 million.
4
with only like only like 3
months.
locations as well.
Yeah. It's just set in that liminal space of the room.
Yeah, it's a pocket dimension. This is the room.
Also, I must
Truly.
admit that like only in doing this podcast did I realize, it's called the room because it's always set in that room.
Yeah. I think Tommy was like, it's supposed to
symbolism.
evoke this sense of comfort and security in the room. And everyone was like, bullshit.
Sure, or whatever.
Yeah.
Why are there pictures of spoons that are framed?
I forgot about.
Well, I mean, that's what the spoons that were framed. Op shop find. Apparently,
no
he went to a
fucking
thrift shop and he
way.
got a bunch of the furniture from the film from a front display. And then he just, a couple of the pieces were his own furniture, but most of it was just taken straight out of a display in an op shop, including the spoons. And now, of course, we know notably at the midnight screenings of The Room,
Toss
they
spoons.
give you plastic spoons
Yeah.
to throw at the screen.
Yeah.
It's a classic. We need to talk about,
Yes.
once the film wrapped,
Yes.
after this 4-month debacle, then there was also the promotion for it and the release of it theatrically. Tommy was really, really obsessed with the idea, with the possibility of getting an Oscar. And so he wanted to pay for a 2-week at least run in theaters, well, in one theater in LA, because it would qualify him to be able to get Oscars. Yeah. So he paid a ridiculous sum of money to keep showing The Room in theaters for like 2 weeks in LA, and as soon as it was done, it was pulled. Fuck. The poster, the infamous poster, fucking cracks me up because everyone apparently, when it came out, when they saw the poster, they thought it was a horror film.
Yeah.
Because it's the photo of Tommy with his like one sleepy eye. It's weird and grey and blue. It's a strangely close photo.
It's green.
It looks fully like an installment of Saw.
It does. It does. No, it straight up does.
It's
it looks
terrifying.
like Saw X.
It's
Saw 5.
terrifying. And
yeah.
Tommy really wanted, distribution. He wanted people to know of it. He wanted to advertise. So what he did is that with a lot of that money, especially the money he made from selling Korean jackets and pants, he used a lot of the profits from that to fund a billboard
Yes.
in LA
The
that
billboard.
had that poster on it, which
famous
confused
billboard.
people infamously. People would look at the billboard and be like, yeah, right, it's a horror film coming out. Funnily enough, years later, the same billboard was used to advertise The Disaster Artist, and also I think the book and the movie of The Disaster Artist, sorry. So it all works in a circle. Like, how good is that? So it was released, as we know, came out for the 2-week run, and infamously at the premiere, which is something they talk about in The Disaster Artist, the film, it was received with rapturous laughter
Yeah.
because it was so funny and bizarre.
Yeah.
The reviews, obviously, which we're about to go into, are not positive. No. But something that I noticed, which I really want to read out to you guys right now, is that Tommy took liberties in that in July of 2003, which would have been 2 weeks after it was premiered, so late June it comes out, early July, it's still in theaters. And I noticed that on IMDb, there are a few reviews left by someone with the initials of TJW.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Stop it.
No
And
fucking
I'm
way.
fairly
Stop it,
sure
Abby.
those are Tommy Wiseau's initials.
Fuck off.
And I'm fairly sure it was Tommy leaving reviews for his own film on IMDb.
Are they all 10-star reviews?
Yes. So
That is delicious.
let's jump into the reviews.
Oh,
now.
yes, please.
So this film has 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. It, as I said, premiered in June 2003. Wiseau initially arranged a screening for the cast and press at one of the venues. Ticket buyers were given a free copy of the film's soundtrack. Actress Robin Paris, don't even know who that is, was also in attendance. So it was a massive, big release, and there were obviously critics there. Variety reporter Scott Founders, who was also in attendance, would later write that the film prompted most of its viewers to ask for their money back before even 30 minutes had passed. IFC.com described Wiseau's speaking voice in the film as Borat trying to do an impression of Christopher Walken playing a mental patient.
That is devastating.
The Guardian described the film as a mix of Tennessee Williams, Ed Wood, and R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. So here is a review left by TPW, sorry, not TJW, TP. His middle name is
Sure.
Pierre, I'm pretty sure.
Well, because it's French from New Orleans.
Yes.
Louisiana.
It was TPW-2.
Oh my god.
Left on the 7th of July, 2003.
Fuck off.
10 out of 10 review that says, great movie, new ideas, black comedy.
Oh.
This is very good film. I like everything about it. Acting, directing, script, and design. Tommy Wiseau delivered the role of his life. I was never bored at all watching it. It makes you think. The directing is extraordinary, and the ending to this film is surprising and scary. I give this 10 out of 10. Highly recommended. That was the first review ever left for the room
He
on IMDb.
absolutely.
Fully him.
Fully him.
TPW.
And he keeps pointing out how good the directing is. He's got a whole sentence in
He
there about how
delivered the
good
role
Tommy-
of his lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely. He directed.
Yeah, Thomas
Oh my
Pierre
God.
Wiseau is his full name.
Wow.
TPW.
Fuck.
Here's a review left by Fokana in July 2003. I only took reviews from July 2003 because
Nice.
why not?
Yeah.
It didn't have the clout back then, so
Yeah.
it was a more honest appraisal.
Yeah.
This is a 1 out of 10 review called The Worst Film Ever Made. This is the first bad review it ever got on IMDb.
Wow.
The room is truly awful, clearly demonstrating the bad side of video. The best part of this whole train wreck might be that the producers won't have enough money to put us through hell again. Tommy's acting has not improved since I was in acting class with him in San Francisco.
Oh.
He could get a lot of work given his look, as long as he stopped trying to make movies. The room is really a waste of time and money. I feel sorry for anyone who had to watch it, unless you thought it was funny. Which it is, but I don't think it was supposed to be. 1 out of 10.
That's fair. Although, if he keeps selling those Korean jackets, he will have enough money to make another
Honestly,
Yeah,
right?
honestly.
I would like one of those
He's pretty
Korean
entrepreneurial.
jackets. Yeah. Yeah,
He's
he
got
made
that-
a fucking lot of money.
movie. Yeah,
He's
$6 million
clearly
is a
successful.
shitload
He's a
of money.
classic American entrepreneur.
And here's a 9 out of 10 review left by J. Wesley USA called Black Comedy, Well, You Will Have a Good Time. I'm still, by the way, this was put down on the same day as TPW, and part of me was like, I'm so skeptical of the reviews left here that were good, because I was like, it's gotta be people that know Tommy.
Especially when it says black comedy.
Which is what the first
links
one said.
them 100%.
And also, it smacks of Sestero trying to convince Wiseau, like, don't worry that they're laughing, it's fine.
Fully.
Because it's so clearly not made as a black comedy.
And also Jay Wesley USA. I'm like, Wesley sounds like Wiseau, and
But
yeah.
also
USA.
Yeah. All American guy.
All-American guy.
All-American guy.
Well, I like The Room very much, and you have to see this quirky new black comedy. It's good, and you will see something from your life. Good work, Mr. Tommy Wiseau. Great picture, good action, and much more for anyone to related to. I want to see it again, and I'm recommending it to anyone.
No,
9 out
100%.
of
He
10.
wrote that one as well.
Fully,
He fucking
right?
wrote that
Jay
as well.
Wesley, USA.
Fully.
Great job, Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, well, those were Tommy Wiseau's reviews for The Room. Well, what did you think, Gaden?
Okay. Well, I think the thing that makes The Room special is that it is clearly someone trying to make a movie.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes it sit out better than like things like a Neil Breen or these other kind of famously bad movies. It's like, no, he is genuinely believes he's doing a good job to pay the money to put it in the cinema to try and get an Oscar
He
nomination.
had faith in it.
Yeah, he really believed in it. And I think that is why it has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And why it gets a book and why it gets a movie. Because it really is about an artist trying to make it's like Ed Wood. It's like someone trying to make art, but the ceiling is so low.
It's pure earnestness.
Yeah. And for that, I got to give him credit. But also, I was really bored on this time watching it.
Don't understand, don't relate.
So, I mean, I had lots of fun as well, and I've had lots of fun talking about it. So I'm going to give it, man, you're right in that the ranking system really does fucking mean nothing.
It doesn't mean anything.
Fundamentally nothing. Two. What's it? It's like a 3, right? 3.6?
3.7.
3.7
3.7 at the moment.
Yeah.
2.
2?
2. He gets
that's
2
fair.
points for being a creative, earnest crack
Yeah.
at making a movie.
Look, I was saying the whole, last week's episode that my thesis that this is a man deeply obsessed with his vision of America
And birds.
and birds
Fucking
and
loves them.
trying to make the American movie. And you see piece by piece him, you sometimes see the clear source references like Rebel Without a Cause or Reefer Madness. You can see him trying to reconstruct those movies. Does he understand any of those movies? No.
No.
But I like that you can see this level of vision.
Yeah. Sure, he executed it as a child would.
Yeah.
And maybe had the, I don't know, surface level fun, like understanding that a child would as well. But the intention was somewhat there.
And I think the problem I have with film as a medium is because of the industrialization of it, because of the resource intensity required of it, and something that is sort of shifting with YouTube and TikTok and all of that, is that it's harder to make bad film, and everyone should be able to make bad art. Like anyone can do a bad little drawing to get their feeling out, to do their thing they want to do, but it's harder to do that with a movie because it's so resource intensive. And I actually genuinely adore that this guy got to do it, even though it sounds like he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, fully a piece of
And
shit.
this movie was
Fully
a nightmare.
piece of shit. Yeah.
It's not that I think there should be more pieces of shit doing it. I think that there's also nicer people who should be allowed to do this same thing and
Yeah.
make their all-time American movie that is fucking awful.
And I mean, like, it was ambitious, and he spent his own money on it because he believed in it
Yeah.
so much. And I fucking love that he did that.
Yeah.
You know, he gave us this. It's a gift. It really is.
And so for that reason, I gotta give it a 10. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna give it a 10.
Don't you fucking do it, Abby. Don't look at me
Abby?
like that.
If you're gonna do it, we gotta do it together. If you're gonna do it, we're gonna do it together. But if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna give it a real score.
Well, I need to have my say before I give my rating.
But I gotta give my rating first. This is the game of chicken that you've now engaged us in.
Call my bluff.
For the listeners at home, Abby's pulling this face that is inscrutable for reasons that she insisted on describing repeatedly in the last episode.
But also smug.
Yeah,
also
very
smug.
smug. Michelle's
Very
leaned
smug.
forward. I'm watching it like it's an old Western directed by Sergio Leone.
What
do you think I'm gonna do?
I could be sweating so much right now. I'm like, I feel like I'm being goaded into doing something, and I don't know what it is. You know what? No, I'm not going to give it a 10, and I'm not going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a perfect 5.
It's a good year.
Five.
It is easy. Like, it's not the movie that got me into bad movies. I have my mum to thank for that. However, it is a movie that, like, set me down the path of having this level of interest in bad movies. You can come back to it. It's repeatable. It is both a 10 and a 0.
Yeah.
It's a 5.
Fair.
Good reasoning.
Very good reasoning. Well thought out.
Well, as I just said to you, truly, I feel like this film is a gift. It was a man that had a vision, didn't have the means of execution despite having $6 million and a full set and crew. And he himself was his greatest obstacle.
Yeah.
But fuck, I respect the shit out of this film. I love the auteur style of filmmaking of like, let's just run in and do it together. And we'll do it on like, I mean, I know it's $6 million, but it's also no money at all for something that is meant to be high budget or high quality. I love The Room. It got me into bad films. It has a special spot in my heart.
Yeah.
And truly, I don't understand Gaden because I can watch every single bit of The Room and I'm wrapped because the performances are nuts, the direction's stupid. There's a treat for you in every single shot because
Yes.
you're like, all of it is bananas. Every single bit. It's also got a really good atmosphere. San Francisco, early 2000s. I love
that car park, San Francisco
the car
vibe.
park, the green screen San
Yeah.
Francisco. But I really adore this film. And I came in here with a very specific score in mind, which I am sticking to. It's 10 out of 10.
I fucking knew it!
You didn't, but you didn't, did you?
I didn't. You know what? I will do it with you.
It's a 10 out of 10,
It's a
baby.
10 out of 10.
It's fully a 10 out of 10. I
fully a
fucking
10 out of
love this
10.
film.
I think
It's always a 10 out of
not just
10.
because of what it also represents for our specific friendship. It's a 10 out of 10.
It's the film that we've both been looking forward to for years.
for years. We
And
have
it's here.
stuck to the list, if not just because there's the promise of a movie like
We
The Room.
did this podcast because a movie like The Room came along when we were 18 and we were
Yeah.
like, fuck,
Yeah.
we love this shit.
Yeah.
It's important.
You're
There's
right.
a reason it is the most well-known and beloved shit film.
Yeah.
And it's because it's fucking fantastic. 10 out of 10.
I knew it in my heart when you looked at me. You're right.
And
it's
if a
10.
good year is 5, I would watch this I have watched this so much more than
So
I've ever
many
watched a
times.
good year.
Yeah.
It's 10 out of 10.
10 out of
That was
10.
beautiful to watch, guys.
Yeah.
I'm really glad I got to be here for that. That was a beautiful.
Thank you for
union.
being here with
Oh,
us,
it's my
Gaden.
pleasure. Maybe I should put it up to a 5 just because of Michelle's reasoning.
I don't feel
Maybe
peer
it's up
pressure.
to you. It's up to you.
But I mean, you've got a normal rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at a 2.5 to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, I thought about it, but you know what?
To be fair, usually our standard is that if it looks like a film, it's at least a 2, and this doesn't look like it's a film. So it should be lower than a
It kind
2.
of should be lower than it too. It
You're right in that it should be a 0, should be a 10,
Yeah,
should be a
it's
5.
I
It's
do like the
everywhere.
reasoning of a 5 is good because it's both a 0 and a 10.
Thank
But
you.
I just,
Thank you.
but the
think that's
ratings are so
right.
personal. The ratings are
Yeah.
personal. It's what
Yeah.
feels good in your heart. 10 out of 10
was
feels
born.
good
The
in my
number
heart.
system breaks down when you try and make it an objective metric.
Yes.
So you're right. It has to be just what you feel in your soul. And in my soul, I feel it's a 10.
It's like how I gave Taxi a 0 because I was in a bad mood
Yeah.
that day,
Yeah.
you know, but I have to stand by it.
You
I
do.
guess.
For you, the two titans of cinema, perfect scores are Cat in the Hat and The Room.
And Howling too.
Howling
My
too,
sister
your
is a
sister
werewolf.
But you're right about Cat in the Hat.
I am. Thank
Oh my
you.
God.
got good
She
taste.
is Michelle.
We're not relitigating this. It's my birthday.
That's
Wow.
true.
Guys, we made it to the end of The Room.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting here with me. And
pleasure.
listeners at home, did you know we're on social media? It's like we've never mentioned this before, but we are, in fact, on Twitter or X as Rate Descend Pod. We're on TikTok at Rating Descending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. Gaden, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Gaden Salad. That's Gaden. Salad, like the salad. And on Letterboxd is also at Gaden Salad. That's me. You can find me there.
Nice. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at michelle.stclair. And also, I've plugged it so many times, but you can check out No Ordinary Love on YouTube at No Ordinary Love Series. You can also, by this point, I think it will still just be the trailer of Shippers at Shippers Series on YouTube, and also Unerased on Instagram at -18youth and TikTok at unerased.tv.
And and you can't find me anywhere. But we are also, it's worth mentioning now, we are on YouTube.
Yeah, we are.
At Rating Descending. You just type in Rating Descending and you'll find us. You know how to use YouTube. So
Yeah.
go forth and do it.
Go to a search bar. And
Yeah.
keep
Type it in Rating Descending and you'll find
Yeah,
us.
you'll find it.
They're all there.
Actually, we've released an educational video with Gaden Sousa directing you on how to find you.
yeah.
I am
It's
a
on YouTube,
videographer
though.
by trade. It's pretty good. It's
You
pretty
can
well
find
done.
you, the
You'll
way
find
you
it on YouTube.
Oh, wait a minute. No. And also, once you've done all of that, once you've followed the labyrinthine path we've laid out for you, why don't you leave us a review? It really does make a difference.
I did it. It's good. It's easy. It's fun. It's easy. Isn't it fun listening to these
fresh
fun
and funky.
podcasts, hanging out
And
with
it
your
made
friends?
our friendship even stronger.
Absolutely. I think I went up in Michelle and Abigail's estimation.
Well-
and if you too want to go up in Michelle and Abigail's estimations, leave a review.
It went up, so we all circle jerked together. as
Yeah,
soon as
it
you
was
did
hot.
That's how we bonded.
That's why, that's why you left the review, is you really loved the circle.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I keep getting to come back on the podcast.
Yes. This figuratively is, I suppose, a bit of a circle jerk as well. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I mean that's
be
what
honest.
most
Yeah,
podcasts
absolutely.
with men
Yes,
are.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we've got one of them.
got one of them in
turns
there.
into a circle jerk immediately. Well, guys, that was The Room, and it was fucking spectacular. Michelle, what are we watching next week?
Next week, we are watching a movie called Ballistic: X versus Sever.
What the fuck is that?
I have no
Is it
idea.
an X? Is it an X movie? Like one of the triple X movies?
No, ECKS.
Oh, okay.
What?
Not at all
Seven.
how I thought that would be spelled.
I have no idea.
Have
I can't
fun.
believe we're going from The Room to that.
I'll probably go watch a better movie.
We got great movies after. Guys, we're going into 2024 in a real mystery.